Hello everybody, welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For today's practice, I invite you to grab a pillow. Otherwise, you could use a couple of blocks and turn it into a pillow this way or this way. And let it trace the midline of your mat towards the rear. We're actually going to begin in a sort of heart opening restorative pose. So with your legs, you can either extend them forward like Shavasana or bend your knees apart in Supta Baddha Konasana, supine bound angle pose, soles of the feet together. Remember, you could also place a couple of blocks, one under each outer thigh, if that's more comfortable. And as your pelvis remains on the floor, lean back onto the pillow so that it traces your spine, helping you to open up your chest as you roll the shoulders back, scoot them down the back, palms face up. And then just make sure that your lower back does not feel overarched here. You might, depending on your physiology, need to slide further away from the pillow towards the front edge of your mat or further towards the rear of your mat. Feel it out. And then allow a moment here to let your body be still and for yourself to tune in. So interestingly, I was planning to talk about joy, and I still will in today's yoga practice. And this weekend has been quite adventurous and quite eventful. To be very transparent, a series of unexpected events, from a fear of possibly contracting COVID, which is not the case. It was just a stomach flu, to because of that, canceling performing in a dance show at the Hollywood Bowl. And then on Sunday night, being bit by a dog that I had fallen in love with in this past week, this cute little terrier, as I was cuddling with it. Thus the new look. And interestingly, as one experience was happening into another, it started Friday evening with a fever, progressed onto Saturday, staying home. I had this voice just speaking to me very confidently, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're going to be okay." And there was some part of me that just really trusted that, as one event happened into the other. And then as I was in the emergency room late at night on Sunday, I met so many kind-hearted people down at Kaiser in Hollywood, from the receptionist to all the many, many nurses whom felt like family members, bringing a sense of lightheartedness with their silly jokes, that it really just kept bringing things back to a bigger picture. Not knowing what the bigger picture necessarily was at the moment, but feeling a sense of trust, like, you know what, I'm gonna be okay. And granted, it was in a life or death situation, thankfully. It really does bring the practice of yoga into practice, into real life application. You know, as I was waiting in the ER room for several hours, the surgery was like the next morning. Naturally, the breathing techniques came to surface. Samavritti, box breathing, which we'll practice later, as well as meditation. And it just really engulfed me with this feeling of, you're gonna be okay. And to remember that when things are shaky, to say the least, we really have a choice. And I know this saying sounds cliche, the glass is half empty or is it half full, but really it's just a reminder that you choose the narrative. You choose the narrative that you want to feed in any situation. How empowering is that? we choose the narrative. I won't talk anymore for now. Just food for thought as we begin this practice. What narrative do you choose to feed moment by moment, starting here as you deepen your breath and arrive with whatever you've come with in your mental suitcase, your emotional stuff, the pleasant, the unpleasant, the neutral, your whole being. Let's take a few long exhales through the mouth. Feel free to make any sound. Ah. Remembering that yoga is a practice for real life. If your knees are bent wide, bring your hands to your outer thighs, please, and start to lift your knees, set your feet on the ground, and then very gradually choose your route of least resistance, whether it's coming forward, turning over to one side, to slowly rise into a comfortable seat. And as you come into that comfortable seat, I invite you to place your two palms right at the center of your chest. Heart energy center, Anahata chakra. As you take a moment to look within, what inspires you today? What inspires you to uncover or open yourself up to love, to choose love over fear, to choose the narrative of love over the narrative of fear in any given situation? And together, let's open the practice with 3 chants of Om, the remembrance that we are all interconnected and our choices mentally, even mentally, affect those around us. So 3 chants, take a deep breath in. Let's begin inhaling through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling through the nose, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Counting at your own pace, a couple more cycles where you can sustain the breath to your full length, both in and out. You feel that vastness within you that the breath can color, can remind you of. Can you feel your ability to release what doesn't serve that the breath can remind you of? And as you continue to breathe through your nose, if that's available to you, let's begin Ujjayi Pranayama if you haven't already. And that's creating a soft whispering sound at the back of your throat by gently narrowing it, narrowing the back of your throat. So as you listen to that sound, you can help to steady your mind, focus your mind in the here and now. If your eyes are closed, please softly open them. Let's put the pillow aside if it's still on your mat. If you have a couple of blocks, you may want to have them ready, framing the top of your mat. And let's come down to all fours, hands and knees, where your knees are right under your hips so that we are in plank pose. and your wrists are right under your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide and point your index fingers forward, parallel to each other. And then from here, begin to lift the navel. So that's right below the belly button. Lift that towards the spine without rounding the back. And then draw your sternum right at the middle of your chest through your upper arms, elongating the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back. Keep your two hips as leveled as possible. And then tuck your right toes on the floor behind you, pressing your inner right heel actively back so you engage the right quadricep. Keep the lift of the navel, drawing the sternum forward, shoulders away from the ears. And see if maybe you can balance as you crawl your left fingertips forward and raise your left upper arm alongside your left ear, palm facing right wall. Now make sure that left shoulder bone does not start to come out of the shoulder socket. You may need to plug it back in so both shoulders are even. Notice your breath here. Another thing you might explore here is to flex your right foot off the floor, lifting from the inner thigh until your right heel is about the height of your right hip. So either stay still in whatever variation you're holding, or let's begin to move like cat-cow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round your back, bending your right knee towards your nose or left elbow, right knee towards each other. Inhale, lengthen. Keep pressing down through the right palm. Exhale, round. If you're moving, let's go 3 more cycles of breath like this. Inhale and exhale, contract. Couple more, go at your pace. And then re-extending, place the left palm onto the floor again. Lower the right toes and spin the right heel flat onto the floor so it's right behind the left toes. Push the ground away with the left hand. So the left wrist is right under the left shoulder. Engage the left side of your obliques, that's the side of your torso, and then turn your chest completely to face your right wall as you raise the right arm up, sort of like triangle pose. So really press into the floor with the outside edge of your right foot and your left palm. Draw your 2 shoulders down your back. Keep sealing the navel towards your spine. How's your breath? Maybe you're looking up at your right thumb. You might also explore flexing the right foot off the ground here, or bending the right knee if the right foot is lifted, and using your right hand behind you to catch the top of the right foot as you kick the leg towards straight, while pulling the heel towards your glute, opening the inner right shoulder, whatever variation. Let's take 4 more breaths. Now take a look at the floor inside of your left thumb. Re-extend the right leg if it's bent. Sweep your right arm overhead, place the right hand back to where it was, and step the right foot beside your right thumb, coming into Anjaneyasana, a kneeling lunge. So here, from down to your right foot, sweep your arms overhead and lengthen from bottom up of your spine. As you relax the shoulders down, taking several more breaths, find one spot to steady your gaze on, your drishti on. So as we sharpen our gaze, we sharpen our mental focus and our ability to choose what we tend to, our ability to choose what we want to focus on, what story we want to lean into. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Drawing the right outer hip back, lifting the frontal hip bones, and maybe lifting the corners of your lips. And then exhale, place your hands back onto the ground. We'll take a moment to step back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Allow yourself a few breaths here to play with any movement that feels good for your body. Reattuning to the quality of your breath that you can hear. On your next in-breath, glide forward to stack shoulders over wrists and lower your knees on the floor right under your hips. Lift the navel, elongate through both ends of your spine, and tuck your left toes behind you, firming the inner left heel back as you straighten your left leg. Keep centering your hips. Maybe you explore adding on, crawling the right fingertips forward and raising the right upper arm alongside your right ear. Notice if your right upper arm bone starts to come out of the socket. If so, plug the right shoulder bone back so it's in line with the left shoulder, both away from the ears. How's your breath? Another option you might play with is flexing the left foot off the floor, lifting from the inner thigh. Still lifting the navel, still lengthening the sternum forward. And either stay still or begin to move like cat-cow. Breathe in. Exhale, contract. Elbow, knee towards the center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dome. Last two to your breath. Then, as you come back through center, place your right palm on the floor again, wrist right under the shoulder, fingers spread. Lower your left toes and spin the heel to the ground. Press firmly through your right palm on the sole of your left foot. As you engage the right side of your obliques, rotate your chest to face your left wall. Raising the left arm towards the sky, feel your wrists and shoulders stack like one pole. Soften the shoulders down your back. How's your breathing? Maybe looking up. Maybe flexing the left foot off the ground or not. Got choices. Perhaps bending the left knee, catching the top of the left foot behind you and kicking the leg towards straight as you pull the heel in closer, opening the inner shoulder. Wherever you are, what's the feeling tone that you are perpetuating internally here that exudes through how you practice the posture? Last two breaths. Without slingshotting the leg if it's bent, slowly re-extend the left leg. Raise the left arm overhead. Look down at the inner side of your right thumb. Place the left palm back to where it was and step slowly, left foot beside left thumb. Kneeling lunge, legs are hips width. Firm down through left foot and sweep your arms overhead. Feel the steady ground and your connection to it. Feel your lift up. And then back to the breath. Eyes steady, Anjaneyasana. Two more breaths. And with an exhale, place your hands on the ground. Step back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, this time holding still for 5 full breaths. As you see your feet hips width apart and parallel, notice that your inner heels are not visible from where you are. Then steady your eyes on one spot on the ground as you relax your neck. Feel your palms rooting down, pressing the mat forward as you lift your hips up and back, spiraling your triceps to face the earth. Bending your knees, lift your heels and hips high, look past your fingertips. Empty your breath, then as the breath is held out, lift your pelvic floor. Draw the belly in and up, and walk or float to the front of your mat. Into a forward fold. From there, press your shins or the ground and inhale, lengthen into Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Notice the belly is firm here to support the back. Exhale, fold. Root down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Watch your palms touch. This gesture of salutation. Trace your hands to your heart, bowing to the teacher there, and then arms by your sides. Let's flow through Surya Namaskar A 3 rounds. 1 breath, each posture. Inhale, circle your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge from your hips into Uttanasana. Inhale, press with your fingertips, rise forward. Step into your version of plank or float into Chaturanga. Lower into Cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale. Draw your navel in to lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Stilling your body, steadying your gaze, and rebalancing your breath for about 4 more cycles here. And when you get to that 4th cycle, bend your knees, look forward. On emptied breath, apply Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, walk or float to the top. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, heart forward. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, root into the earth to rise all the way up, palms meet. Exhale, tracing your midline, Tadasana. Twice more, start to follow your own breath pace if you haven't yet. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise halfway. Exhale to walk or float back. Continue into it, cobra or upward. We'll meet in downward for 3 to 5 breaths. And though we're meeting here, whenever you're finished with your 3 to 5 breaths, take the last Surya Namaskar A on your own. We'll meet again in downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, a few more breaths. Remember that you have a choice to rest, whether it be child's pose or any other resting position that works for you anytime during this practice, as you are taking care of yourself. So from downward dog, bend your knees, look forward. If you're ready to move on, walk or float on emptied breath. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way. And with your hands to your heart, shift your weight onto your left foot. Preparing for tree pose, turning out your right thigh from the hip socket. Spin your right sole to plug into your inner left ankle, calf, or thigh. Up, re-level your hips. Lift up through the center line of your body and press firmly through the 4 corners of your left foot. Vrikshasana for a few breaths. And then feel free to play with any arm variations you want to explore here. So this is, among several categories of asanas or poses, a hip opening pose. You're rotating the right thigh bone externally and drawing your right sitting bone downward towards your inner left heel. And as you're pressing the right foot and the left leg into each other, you help to stabilize that hip opener. Last breath here. Slowly bring your palms together back to your heart center. And please step your right foot down next to the left. Let's take 1 lion's breath, clearing Simasana. Inhale. With mouth wide open, tongue out, let any sound go. Ah. And then let's shift the weight onto the right foot. Turn your left thigh open at the hip. Hug the inner side of your right ankle, calf, or thigh. Level your two hips. Plug into your center. Plug into the earth. And play with the counterbalancing forces, just like the in and out breath. Notice what you're attending to through your drishti, your gaze. This is one of those postures that ignites a feeling of joy personally. Let's take one more breath in. And then exhale your hands together at your heart. Set your left foot to kiss the right foot. And one more Simasana. Inhale deeply. Tongue out. Eyes and mouth wide. Let it go. All right, back to Ujjayi breath as we flow through 2 rounds. 1 breath, 1 posture of Surya Namaskar B. Bend your knees, feet together, knees together. Sit back into your heels as you reach the arms up. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, shift forward to fold. Inhale, rise halfway. Step or lightly float into Chaturanga. Choose your way down. You could also replace the vinyasa with cat-cow. In downward facing dog, keep your hips leveled and inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Draw the belly in to softly step right foot beside right thumb. Feet are hips width. Spin the back heel down and face forward. Inhale, rise up into warrior 1. Use the exhale to lower all the way back down into your chosen vinyasa. Finishing it off, we'll meet in downward dog. From there, raise the left leg on an inhale, keeping your hips squared. Draw your belly in to lightly, as you exhale, step the left foot beside left thumb. Feet hips width, drop the back heel. Inhale, rise facing forward, Virabhadrasana 1. Ride the exhale down into your vinyasa. Three to 5 breaths will land in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let me ask that question in the beginning again. What inspires you to choose the narrative of love over the narrative of fear? Bend your knees, look forward. Bottom of the exhale, walk or float. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees together, inhale, chair. Exhale, rise tall like a mountain. One more round. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Step or float back, take your vinyasa. When you arrive at downward dog, inhale, the right leg lifts. Follow your breath pace. The exhale steps the foot forward, back heel down. Inhale to lift up, warrior 1. And the exhale to lower into your flow. Keep going and finish side 2. We'll meet in downward dog. Feel that mindful pacing, just like you're breathing. Let's finish a couple more breaths in downward facing dog and we'll wrap this up together. Looking forward, bend your knees. On emptied breath, walk or float. Feet touching, inhale, rise forward halfway. Exhale, fold. Knees touching, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, rising all the way up to standing. From here, please grab your 2 blocks. And let's step to the center of your mat, facing the wide width as you open your arms wide. Step or jump your feet as wide apart as your wrists, or slightly shorter stance. And then place your blocks in their tallest height behind your calves. We're going to start in Warrior 2. And as I'm mirroring you here, turn your right leg inward 45 degrees and your left leg outward 90 degrees. So your left foot is your front leg here. Aligning left heel to arch your right foot. Bend your left knee to stack right over the heel, wrapping the left sitting bone down and firming the top of your right thigh bone back so your pelvic bowl can feel as neutrally upright as possible. Tall spine, open your arms wide, and relax your shoulders. Focusing your eyes just past your left fingertips. Let's take about 5 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Letting your breath create space. Ease. And focus. Press your feet into the ground as you straighten your left leg to prepare for Trikonasana triangle, in which you might want to slightly shorten your stance, shorten your stance, like 2 to 3 inches less. Helps for balancing. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your right foot, your rear leg, as you reach your left hand beyond left knee before placing your hand down onto your left leg or just to the left outside of the leg, maybe using a block. As you raise the right arm up, keep wrapping the left sitting bone under, but spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, maybe looking up. 5 breaths here. As you firm down to your feet, inhale, slowly rise up, parallel your feet, and then we'll start here from neutral to take side 2. Turn your left leg inward 45 degrees, turn your right leg outward 90 degrees, and align your right heel to the arch of your left foot. Bend your right knee to stack just over the ankle as you wrap the right sitting bone under, firm top of your left thigh bone back. Tall spine, open your arms. Shoulders relaxed. Steady your gaze. 5 breaths. As we watch our minds and the thoughts that surface, that come and go or linger, notice what narratives pop up. What narratives do you choose to shine the spotlight on for even longer? From down to your feet, straighten your right leg. Maybe shorten your stance 2 to 3 inches for triangle. Glide your hips sideways towards your left foot. Reach the right hand past your right knee and bend down onto your right leg, or just to the right of the leg, maybe on a block. As you continue to wrap the right sitting bone under, spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, and maybe look up. 5 breaths. As you firm down through both feet, inhale, slowly rise up. Parallel your feet once again. Bring your hands to your hips for Prasarita Padottanasana. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale, lift your heart. And then exhale, begin to hinge from while shifting more weight towards the front of your heel. Lower your fingertips on blocks or the ground. As you lift the spine parallel to the floor, draw your heart through your upper arms. Feel the strength of your fronts of your thighs, and then continue to bow. Perhaps walking the hands back, maybe clasping the big toes with your peace fingers and bending the elbows apart. Maybe moving into tripod headstand where you plant the hands flat, bend the elbows back, and create a triangular base. Only a headstand if you have no neck injuries, no shoulder injuries. Whatever variation you're choosing in this upside down posture, this inversion. Let's take about 4 more breaths in it. Slowly returning to a half forward fold. Pause for a few breaths. Bend your knees generously, and let's bring the hands to the hips, pointing the elbows up. Lead with your chest. When you're ready, inhale to rise. Stepping or jumping your feet together to touch. You're going to take one more standing balancing posture, and that's hand to big toe pose. You may find it useful to grab a strap. I'll start with it, and then you can see if you need it or not. So as I continue to mirror you, let's place the strap around the ball of your right foot, whether you use the loop with the strap or you step into the middle of it. Holding the strap in your right hand, flex your right foot and pull the strap. So there's constantly a sense of tension between the foot and the strap that helps to create stability. Feel your left standing foot press into the earth as you raise your right knee in front of you, flexing the foot. Bring your right arm inside of your right leg. As close to your right foot as possible, hold the strap. Left hand to the left hip. Notice if your right hip starts to hike up. Tilt the right sitting bone towards the inner left heel like we did in tree pose. And then to whatever degree, now if you're not going to use a strap, you can clasp your big toe here with your peace fingers. Begin to extend your right leg forward only to the point where your spine remains vertically upright. Breath is balanced, shoulders relaxed, center is awake. Then rotate your right thigh externally, which means turn out the leg before you begin to open the leg. Opening the left arm out to its side, counterbalancing, few breaths. Maybe looking past the left thumb, Uttita Hasta, Parangushtasana, hand to big toe pose. If you're looking away from forward, start to look forward again. And slowly bring your right leg in front, left arm to the sky. Take one breath, standing tall, and then gently step the right foot down. Mountain pose. Pause, maybe close your eyes, and just notice what you feel, how you feel. Now, if you want to use a strap, go ahead and place the ball of your left foot into it, flexing the foot as you're pulling the strap. So we're constantly using counterbalances, right? Hatha means yin and yang. So it's these play of opposites to create wholeness. Right hand to right hip. Press down to the right foot. Draw the navel in and up. Flex the left foot as you bend the knee in front. Left arm is on the inner side of the left leg, walking the hand as close to the foot as possible. Maybe clasping the big toe, if not the strap. Keeping your spine upright, shoulders over hips. Extend your left leg, doesn't have to be all the way. Forward to the degree your spine stays upright. Notice as the left shoulder comes out of the socket, bring it back in. As you're breathing, eyes are steady. Begin to rotate the left leg to turn out. Slowly open the left leg and right arm. Feel the power of your center line. Up and down that divides your body into left and right hemispheres. Maybe look past the right thumb. Let's take 3 more breaths. Slowly looking forward. If you're looking away, bring your left leg forward. Raise your right arm. Take 1 breath standing tall. And then exhale gently back to mountain. Pausing here. Breathe into what's here right now. Inhale, please sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. And from your bow, bend your knees and please lower them onto the ground. So we're gonna turn to face the front of your mat, come into couple last active back bends, which is bow pose. So please come all the way down to your stomach. Forehead to the floor, knees close together. Point your toes back, parallel your legs and feet. And then turn or reach your arms behind you, bending your knees. Try to keep the knees no wider than hips width apart. Catch hold of your outer feet with your hands. Ground your pubic bone and begin to kick your legs back as you pull your feet towards your glutes, coiling your chest open. Soften the shoulder blades down. 5 breaths or more, your count, before you let it go to rest. When you let it go to rest, you might want to make a pillow out of your forearms and turn your head to one side. Maybe pigeon toe your feet to help open up your lower back. Let's take a deep belly breath in. Let the exhale make any sound to your mouth. Round 2, last one. Knees close together, forehead to the floor. Bend your knees, reach back, and catch your outer feet again. Dhanurasana, bow pose. Kick the legs, pull the feet, raise the knees, lift the heart. Your count, 5 or more breaths. Opening up your heart space. Physically helping to activate Anahata Chakra. Then once you let it go, maybe turn your head to the opposite side. And perhaps more actively release the lower back by windshield wiping your shins left and right. And we'll slide through child's pose, transitionally resting the forehead down, pelvis back to your feet, knees together apart. And take a few longer exhales than inhales here. Maybe a 5 count in breath, a 7 count out breath. With your hands on the ground beside your knees, please tuck your chin towards your chest and inhale to roll your spine upright. Please find your strap and maybe a blanket, maybe some blocks, just so you have more options. We're gonna come into a restorative spinal twist. Did I say strap? I meant pillow. So using your pillow to trace the midline of your mat like we did in the beginning, but this time at the front half of your mat. Have a seat so your right hip is flush against the rear edge of that pillow and you're extending both legs straight towards your left wall. Keeping your right leg where it is, slide your left leg towards your rear wall so you have an L shape out of your legs. Then place your two hands to frame the left and right sides of the pillow. Turn your chest completely to face the front of your mat. Adjust your pelvis and legs as needed so that they're comfortable, and then begin to lower your belly onto the pillow. Now you could place a block under your forehead if you want to lie face down. You could place a block under the rear edge of that pillow, which is the front of your mat, to create more of a lift of the pillow. Whatever's comfortable for you here. Let's take about 10 breaths before we switch sides. So when I say choose, or when I invite you to choose the narrative that inspires love over the narrative that inspires fear, it's not to dishonor what emotions are at bay. It's to be with what you're feeling, as your emotions are indicators of what's aligned or misaligned with your core being. It's often said that fear is the opposite of love. Fear is the opposite of love. Dr. Henry Grayson, author of Mindful Loving, says that we can categorize people's actions, especially in a relationship in which we might be having conflict, as either coming from love or coming from fear. And in so doing, we can actually have compassion for actions that might even be disturbing to us. We can have compassion for somebody acting out of fear. Let's take one more breath here. And then slowly begin to lift your torso. Leave the props right where they are. And as you rise to sit, let's turn away from the pillow, straighten both legs forward in Dandasana. Keep the right leg facing the rear of your mat. Slide the left leg to your left, so it's actually facing your right wall. And then place your hands along the left and right sides of the pillow and turn your chest completely to face the front of the pillow, arranging your legs and pelvis as needed. And then start to lower your torso, lower your head. 10 breaths, just about here. And so when we can see through the lens of actions as either coming from love or coming from fear, it empowers us to have compassion rather than hate or anger, which can be poisonous if we perpetuate those kinds of narratives, poisonous for ourselves. And enables us to still see through the eyes of love. Now, I know this is all very theoretic in sounding. Let me take a moment and maybe I can find an example. Let's take a few more breaths here. Here's a very simplified Sesame Street example. Let's say someone steals your cookie. And instead of perpetuating the narrative that they're just greedy, or they hate me, they attacked me, they stole my cookie, or they bit my lip, we could think about perhaps there's some hurt within them. Like their cookies have been stolen from, or they have been, you know what I mean? Someone stole their cookies in the past, and there's a fear that they need to take so that they don't become empty? And can we feel compassion for that? Can we feel empathy for that? And in so doing, we can continue to see through the eyes of love. We can still choose love as we perceive another. Slowly begin to rise. And then taking your time, please come down onto your back, choosing a cooling inversion that will just be about half a minute long. So it could be happy baby pose if you want to get in a shoulder stand. If you want to place your legs on a prop, could be a wall, could be pillows, or nothing, just like this, lying in an L-shaped pose. Become more aware of how you might still be carrying the energy of tension in your body. And you mentally scan throughout your own physical body and notice the energy of each part. Perhaps play with the idea of noticing the energy of love, or noticing the energy of fear in the physical parts of your body. Often when we tense or contract, it's like a gripping. It can feel like fear. And when we're loose and open, it can feel like the embodiment of love. And as you finish 3 or so more breaths, please gently begin to place your body in a position where it can be still comfortably, as we gift ourselves a few minutes of Shavasana, complete rest. begin to move your fingers, your toes, your head. And in your own way, ease into a gentle, delicious stretch. From one movement to another, gradually making your way up to find a comfortable seat for 5 minutes, ending in meditation. Positioning your body in a way that you can be still, awake and alert, open and calm. Could include a mudra of your choice, eyes open or closed, steady gaze if eyes are open, and then drop into the seat of awareness. You might begin by sensing your awareness of sounds near and far. Noticing as you are paying attention to sounds, any tendency to lean towards judging of good or bad, or rather leaning into a narrative about the sounds. And if so, know that you can free yourself from having to label or narrate and simply be here, observing what is. Invite you to join me in transition to Samavriti Pranayama, or box breathing. Clearing this breath out first. Hold at the bottom. Then through the nose, inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold it in for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold it out for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue on your own counts. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. At your own pace. Bringing an attitude, a feeling tone of ease as you do this. Finish the cycle of box breathing that you're on. And then relax into your natural breath. Closing this practice as we bring the palms together at our heart center, bowing in, realigning to what stokes your ability to see through the lens of love. Let's close this practice, joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.